If you're looking for a portable power station big enough for whole home backup, capable of powering your 120 and 240 volt appliances during an outage, or an off-grid property, cabin, something like that, you've probably looked at one of these two power stations. You might not have looked at both of them though, because they are completely different price ranges and they're marketed completely differently. However, when it comes to the features and the specs of both these power stations, they're almost identical. So when you're buying a single power station, just one, or you're building a small overall system, only one of these actually makes sense to buy. So welcome back to the lab, where our opinions cannot be bought. If you're interested in either of these power stations, we have full reviews on the channel for you to learn a little bit more about them. Before we jump in to which one of these is best for you, we will leave links to both of them in the description down below, as well as any coupon codes we can get to help save you guys some money. We also have our power station quiz. So if you're like, hey, I hate both of these, and you're just looking for the best power station for your needs, we will leave a link, takes 30 seconds, gives you an instant recommendation that we would actually recommend based on your needs. Otherwise, before we get into which one of these might be the best buy for you, we're gonna hit you with a super quick spec overview to get you up to speed in case you're not familiar with one of these power stations. So starting off with battery capacity, the F5000 has a 5,120 watt hour battery. The Delta Pro Ultra, each battery right here is 6,144 watt hours. They both have the exact same inverter output at 7,200 watts. They both output 120 or 240 volts directly from one unit. In terms of getting solar into these guys, you got 6,400 watts of input on the Pecron, 5,600 watts on the EcoFlow. If you don't want to charge with solar, you could charge this with roughly 30 amps at about 3,200 watts. That's the fastest you can get power into this. It'll take just over an hour and a half to fully charge. With the EcoFlow, you can actually charge it. We've seen speeds, I don't actually know what they advertise, but we've seen speeds up to 6,000 watts of input when we're charging with 240 volts, which is an hour flat if you're capable of getting that much power into it at one time. The F5000 is expandable up to 35 kilowatt hours of total capacity, whereas the Delta Pro Ultra is over 90 kilowatt hours of total capacity. And the biggest difference between these two is the price. So right now, at the time of filming, the Pecron F5000 is $1,999 before our discount code. This Delta Pro Ultra is $4,099 before our discount code. So you can get two of these for the price of one Delta Pro Ultra. The biggest edge that the Delta Pro Ultra has is going to be scalability. By far, if you're looking to build a very big system, or if you just like potential, like if you like buying something knowing that in the future you could easily make it way bigger than it is without having to start all over again, the Delta Pro Ultra easily smashes the Pecron F5000 in that category. Each battery is 6,144 watt hours, and with a total of 3 inverters and 3 stacks of 10 batteries or something like that, you can get up to 90 kilowatt hours of total storage, which is a massive system. I honestly, I highly doubt anybody's actually even built a system that big with these units, but you can. And speaking about the actual battery, if you just look at individual units, if you have one inverter paired with one battery versus one Pecron F5000, there's about 1,000 watt hours more battery in the EcoFlow setup, which is meaningful during an outage. That'll power your fridge for an extra day almost. That'll keep things like a freezer or Wi-Fi router, your lights in your house on for significantly longer, even though it doesn't look like a big number on paper. Another big edge that this has is that if, say, a storm's coming and you don't have solar and your batteries are dead and you just need to get power into these units as fast as possible, the EcoFlow is going to charge significantly faster. Like we've said, the most we've ever got into this at one time with 240 volts is 6,200 watts. So you can basically charge your battery in like almost an hour flat, whereas the Pecron is going to be at least an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more, because the battery is 5,100 watt hours, but you can only put in just over 3,000. So that, again, little numbers that don't seem like a lot, but in an emergency, they make a big difference. And probably the biggest thing that EcoFlow has going for it is its ecosystem. If you're trying to do a proper home backup system and not just run a power station into a traditional inlet box into your panel, EcoFlow has smart home panels, and they have all these accessories that you can buy to basically integrate this thing into your house seamlessly. So when the power goes off, it'll automatically switch over. It'll keep all your important loads on. You can monitor everything from your phone. It's all integrated into your home properly, which is something that Pecron just straight up doesn't offer. They don't have a smart home panel. They don't have these things. It's going to be more of a simple setup. When the power's out, you're going to have to manually plug it in, switch breakers over, be home to make sure things stay on. You could be out in the world, your house goes out, this thing will turn everything back on. You get home, you don't even know what happened. And tailing off that point of their ecosystem and whole home backup installed correctly, this unit is UL certified. So it will actually, if you're doing something like that, it will pass the certifications depending on how you do things. If you just have it running into an inlet box and stuff, you don't need it. But if you live in a place that has requirements for legal install or UL certifications on your products or whatever, this has those certifications. So you're gonna pass your code a lot easier, especially when it's tied into its own smart home panel and stuff like that. So clearly the EcoFlow has some pretty big advantages, but I wouldn't count the Pecron out just yet. One of our favorite things about the F5000 is the 6,400 watts of solar input, which is huge, especially in comparison to the battery size. This thing is a 5,120 watt hour battery. So if you're getting perfect sun and you max out your solar input, you could charge this thing in under an hour with solar, which in the power station world is extremely rare. Even a power station like the Delta Pro Ultra is only 5,600 watts. That's still gonna take you about an hour and a half, maybe just a little bit less depending on your sun. And that system is meant to be scaled insanely large. So once you start growing, your solar input is really just not super sufficient. Where something like this, it's just a really big solar input and there's no arguing. Again, it's a little thing, but it makes a really big difference if you have like a power outage or something like that. A small window of sun can fully charge this thing up. I also think that it's worth mentioning the design. If you're going for a single power station or a small setup, this is one power station. You got a handle on each side. It's extremely heavy. It weighs like 140 pounds. You probably want to team lift it, but it's one unit. So it's a lot easier to move it around, pick it up, do all that. The EcoFlow has an inverter on the top, battery on the bottom. It's got cables connecting them. If you're trying to move it around at all, it just becomes a lot more of a hassle. This is something that if you're gonna put it in an RV or a trailer or bring it with you, it's just a lot of an easier process to do. It also has adjustable DC output on it, which is not something that is very common. So if you look right here where you got your XT60 and your barrel connector, these are actually 12 to 40 volts adjustable, meaning you can run different appliances off this power station that you won't be able to run off of most power stations, which again, if you're throwing it in a trailer, a camper, or something like that, it does really help to be able to run those little gadgets off DC power directly and not waste power running your AC inverter. We also really like that Pecron has taken the route of making basically 2 expansion batteries that work with almost every power station that they make versus EcoFlow. I mean, EcoFlow actually does the same thing. They do a really good job of it, but the Delta Pro Ultra is their only power station that only works with Delta Pro Ultra expansion batteries. So if you want to grow that system or you had other EcoFlow products and you bought the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra, it's not going to work with any of the existing products you had. If you already had a Pecron expansion battery for another system, or you wanted to buy a Pecron expansion battery for this system and then get a different Pecron in the future, you can use that same battery for almost all of their units, which is just a really nice feature. It also makes the batteries a lot cheaper and overall just more versatile. And then honestly, the biggest advantage with the F5000 being a power station that has the exact same inverter as the Delta Pro Ultra, 1,000 watt hours of battery less, but the same ports and plugs and everything on the front. In fact, actually is a little bit more. The difference is the price. This power station, you could buy 2 of them for the price of 1 Delta Pro Ultra, and you would have double the inverter, almost double the battery, double the plugs and ports, all that kind of stuff. It's a really hard point to argue unless you're trying to scale that Delta Pro Ultra all the way up to the moon. These Pecrons are just so affordable right now. It doesn't even make sense. And they've started to get really good with their customer support, which is actually something EcoFlow is terrible at. Pecron before also had pretty bad customer support, but over the last couple of years, they've actually started to implement pretty good service. And like, if you call them and no one answers, they'll actually call you back. They'll walk you through problems. Like, they've gotten really, really good lately. So you're not just buying a cheap unit that like no one cares about it after you bought it. You're getting it and you're still getting solid support, which is still more than EcoFlow can even say. At the end of the day, for 99% of people, I would recommend that you go ahead and buy the Pecron F5000. I think it performs way too good and the price is so low. It's just hard to tell somebody to spend double on a power station like this if you really don't need it. But if you're sold on EcoFlow, at the end of the day, it still is a really good unit. Like I said, we will leave links in the description down below, as well as any codes to save you guys money and our quiz. If you're still not sold, take the quiz. It takes 30 seconds, gives you an instant power station recommendation. Otherwise, that is all we got for you guys today. Make sure you're subscribed if you are not already, and we will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged.